Yeah, they can, but it's the quality isn't amazing because it's going through the feedback. All right,
Okay.
hey guys, welcome to this episode, the inauguratory episode of. I guess it's not inauguratory; it's inauguratory or whatever. Episode
Inaugural.
inaugural. That's it. Yeah. Thanks for making me feel dumb. Well, all right.
Oh, we're just getting started.
Yeah, just tally mark number one.
By the end of this, we'll all feel dumb.
Probably.
All right. Sorry, enough riffing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome to the inaugural Cinefiles podcast, part of the Remembering Truth channel. It's a working title. Anyway, today we're going to talk about two classic movies in recent years.
Yeah.
The 2007 Oscar-winning films, There Will Be Blood, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and the similar movie, 2007, No Country for Old Men, directed by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen.
Yeah.
Would you remind me which one got Best Picture, just so we can be biased?
I think it was No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Best Director went to Paul Thomas Anderson?
I don't know. Probably. I get the feeling he won some award for that, but I really have no idea.
And we also have Tony here, and Tony has seen one of these movies but hasn't seen the other. So
which one did you see?
I saw No Country.
Yeah, that was a big one, definitely.
That was honestly, I like that more, even though they're very similar movies. You know, like I still like that one more.
And yeah, they are very similar. I mean, I preferred the other one just because.
Well, you like Paul Thomas Anderson quite a lot.
Yeah, I do. I just really like his style. It's like very like, I don't know. It's really it's kind of raw with those really long shots he sometimes does. It's kind of hard to explain. And also he's got this whole nostalgia thing, which he does really well, where he just like simulates some entire world, and he kind of like gets into that thing. Like particularly in The Master, where it's like it really just looks like the 50s. Like he even like fetishistically like bought the cameras from the 50s, and it really comes to a head, or like the lenses, you know, it comes to a head in The Phantom Thread, where like he does this gigantic scene where it's like this New Year's ball in like 1951 in England, and it's just in the background, but you can tell it just looks like the real thing. But like it's kind of like this double thing of like on the one hand it seems like it's just like incidental background stuff, and if it was a modern movie it kind of would be, but because it's a period piece, it's like. It's amazing. It's like incredible.
Well, that was Phantom Thread, and that's a pretty good movie. It has it's very deliberate and precious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like the plot of that movie is not really as good. It's just kind of weird, and frankly, I always thought the main guy would like turn out to be gay. I feel like it's kind of not realistic that he's not gay. Kind of. I mean, no offense, but
well, he was like a mama's boy,
like
right? Like he was like this. Wasn't that
like a 50s British like fashion guru?
No, but wasn't the whole like plot twist is like he was like in love with his mom or something?
I don't know.
Because don't you remember that scene where like he was imagining this woman and he was like, I just wish I could dress you again, and like I think it was his mom or something, or it might have been like his first wife, or I don't know, but I don't know. I don't remember that. I have my own reason for disliking There Will Be Blood slightly.
What is it?
Well, I think that Daniel Day-Lewis is kind of an annoying actor. He kind of plays the same. He plays the same range of characters, but he's like lauded as like this, like, you know, like he has so much like versatility, whatever, range and stuff.
Yeah, it's like really fun to watch him, but like I don't know. I don't feel like he's like he would be like an amazing like clown. He couldn't just like play a clown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he couldn't play anyone. He couldn't play anyone.
Well, no, he's good for these like really intense, like kind of inscrutable leading men who are like not very emotionally expressive. I don't know. I feel like if an actor is good enough, I don't really care. It's seldom that I'm watching.
Who is an actor that can play like almost any type of character?
I feel like you don't even really notice because they're just like doing it.
Yeah, doesn't that make them like a character actor, like by definition?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like you just if someone's a really good actor, you don't even really register that they're I mean, I know it sounds obvious, but it's like you'll know you've done your job best when no one even knows you've done it.
Well, Javier Bardem was really, 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 really good in No Country for Old Men, and he's not even like I don't even like any other role by him except for Vicky Cristina Barcelona, but he was barely in that movie. Like he wasn't like he wasn't even like a side character.
He was in what do you call it, James Bond as well.
Yeah, but that one was like lame. Like, he was like
he was pretty much the same guy.
He was pretty much the same. Yeah, he was the exact same character. A little bit gayer, and he was like Hispanic. I mean, he's already Hispanic, but he like played up the Hispanicness in that one.
Yeah, he went from like ambiguous to
but he's a good actor, and obviously that role really iconic role for him, yeah, and he definitely deserved that Oscar for supporting actor. Obviously, There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis got Best Actor. And he was playing someone actually named Daniel Playview, so he was playing his own name, which I think helps. But what is
this about method acting? The guy's got the same name. No method acting.
Yeah, I mean, I go by I don't know about you, man, but I go by the Academy Awards, but I also go by the BAFTA because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the BAFTA is like the Academy Awards, but for Britain. So it's like just as important. It's just like a smaller. It's like I mean, like it's not like
I kind of trust British people more, to be honest. Yeah. I don't really like believe in like the award shows that much because like they're often right, but sometimes they're just like kind of wrong. So it's like, what's the point? Like it's so much harder to make a movie than to just say whether it's good or bad. And like
it's like 70. It's like a 70%. Like I know what you mean. It's not 100% almost ever.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's just kind of silly, but like, I guess I like sort of when people like write like theory papers about movies that I already like, but I feel like you can watch a little bit of a movie. I think already whether it's whether you'll like it or not, or at most it's an hour and a half. You can hear what stuff has the buzz.
But by the way, I want to say this year was an incredible year for movies. I looked at the roster.
What did you see?
Well, just looking at it was the 80th Academy Awards.
Oh yeah.
And they had Juno, we had Elizabeth the Golden.
Juno?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. We had Elizabeth the Golden Age. We had Eastern Promises.
Did they remake it?
No, this is when Juno came out. I'm talking about back in 2007.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not to 2021. Now 2021's got some good stuff though. I like the Ridley Scott movies that are coming out right now. The Last Duel. I was writing a screenplay that was literally like the same decade in the 1300s as the movie that just came out. It was like bizarre.
Wow.
And the location in Europe was like not even that different.
Jeez.
Yeah, but anyway,
unconscious. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, some unconscious kind of a spirit of the ages kind of deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, in 2007 we had really good movies. We had Michael Clayton, Juno, Elizabeth the Golden Age, Sweeney Todd, Eastern Promises, The Assassination of Jesse James, Into the Wild, American Gangster. Yeah. This is like one of the best years for films. And there's like Persepolis, Ratatouille. I remember this year. I remember all these movies being solid. Compare that with now, and you have like weird movies like Mank, and like Birdman.
What?
Yeah, movies like Birdman and Mank, and it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like
Birdman was a few years ago.
No, but compare that, a decade later. What I'm saying, like,
yeah.
And it's just like, what are these movies? Birdman, like, is that good? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I liked it.
Okay. Did you like Mank?
I don't know what that is. It sounds weird though.
Yeah, so that's my point. That's my point. The Lobster.
Sounds bizarre. I really dislike The Lobster.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I thought Phantom Thread was going to be The Lobster, but I thought it was going to be like a British version of it.
I thought it was already British.
Yeah, it might have been, but like a more British version.
Yeah, but it like took place in America or something.
Yeah, it's just like exactly like a way more like old school British vibe. I didn't realize that Phantom Thread was like a realistic, naturalistic kind of film. I thought it was going to like have like a plot twist and going to have like some aliens at one point, or
Yeah, just like this kind of vague sci-fi. It's like sad modern sci-fi.
Yeah, like Netflix sci-fi, or Netflix original sci-fi or something.
Yeah.
Which is better, by the way, than Amazon original. I mean, anything. I mean, almost anything.
Well,
is,
they've been
but
doing it longer or something.
they've been doing it 2 years longer, so I give them the
There's
nod.
what do they call it? Like founder's effect. When you're the first one in a field, you.
That's true. No, I can't deny that. Can't deny that. So anyway, let's actually talk about the two movies on topic.
Oh yeah. So in the comparison, I mean, I don't get really that much to say. I just it's sort of like I feel like one is very like just the analogy is like prose and poetry. I feel like There Will Be Blood is way more like poetic because sometimes it'll just like let it ride, you know, and it's more like, you know, those long slow shots, which is almost like handheld or something, and just people talking and it's like the scene is set up and it just happens with the camera watching.
Yeah, and I'll give it credit. They did a lot with like sort of like a new sort of environment. It's like Western, but it's also it's like, you know, Protestant sort of like underclass, you know, mining, prospecting. Like the community there is in focus is not something that's been shot a lot. And especially more so because it's a period piece, whereas
exactly there's the history thing as well, which just adds like a lot of artistry.
It's like a rarefied environment they're working with, and then the fact that they have to use like, you know, new wardrobes that are like archaic and that makes it all like a lot more convoluted. Whereas in There Will Be Blood, they're relying a lot on the Texas landscape, which is pretty forgiving for cinematography, pretty easy to work with. And they're also using, you know, like readily available props from the 70s or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I think, it's way closer in time, even though it is like 30 years or so or whatever. Like I feel like the 80s is, even now the 80s is still like weirdly close enough that it's not really alien. Like they're not playing up like, look at this strange time, this like strange distant time.
Well, you know, in the 80s, you know, that they felt the same way about the 40s.
I imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
weren't they already sort of nostalgic, like even back then? Like, wasn't there already like 50s nostalgia? Like American Graffiti was like, it sort of seemed to be playing off that nostalgia. I guess that makes no sense because there's 80s nostalgia now. I don't know. I have no idea. It makes sense. But No Country is also like a straightforward like thriller kind of. Like you can just watch it like and kind of be entertained, which I don't know. I don't think that's really true about There Will Be Blood. It's like if you're, it's not really as enjoyable. It's kind of like, it could be boring. If it wasn't beautiful, it would be like kind of boring just to see like some guys on a beach or something, you know? It's like this like fast-paced chase.
Well, There Will Be Blood kind of stunk for me in a way because it was really slow and I will say it was boring at times. And and then the ending was like the you know, the fever point pitch or whatever. It was the crescendo of the movie, and it's like right at the end, and it's like so delayed. You know, this gratification, and I felt like you could have like given me a little bit, you know, it could have lured me in a little bit better, you know.
Well, that's kind of weirdly why I like I know it's all like kind of pretense or artifice or whatever because you're watching the movie anyway, but I kind of like this sense of like it's almost like the movie doesn't really care whether you like it.
Oh no, that is awesome.
It's just
that's the best quality about it, I think, is the sort of the aloofness.
It's like objectivity almost,
Yeah, no, it is objective. It's like that's how real life is. Like real life, you don't walk around and people are like, "Oh, I want you to." No one, real social circles and communities and situations. They don't like try to sell themselves to onlookers, right? And that's how There Will Be Blood kind of came across. A lot of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies are like that, especially in recent years.
Yeah.
And Phantom Thread might have been the most like that out of all of them.
Yeah.
But There Will Be Blood's definitely a close second.
Yeah, and then There Will Be Blood. I feel like the heart of the story. There's this guy who like it's like a sort of classic, I guess, tale of morality, sort of. It's like a tragedy, really.
Yeah, I didn't like the way they focused a lot on Christianity, but they kind of make Christianity look really drab. I felt like that was sort of like an easy target. You know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, the way I sort of was thinking of it is like it's like a guy who like doesn't really believe in like God, like the preacher. Like it's basically like if you kind of believe in God, but you don't really, You're gonna lose against someone who like actually believes in money. You know?
That's funny.
Like at least the evil guy is like actually trying, and thus he's going to win.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was like an effeminate kind of dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was the prototype.
And who we're talking by effeminate, by the way, we're talking about Paul Dano, the I don't the son,
like
the adopted son
of this televangelist. Like he's kind of tainted by his own quest for money and like his own pride, and so he gets like. If you want to be evil, like the guy who just doesn't even pretend to be good is going to win.
Yeah, like exactly. Like the energy you put into pretending is going to take away from the energy you're going to put into actually doing the job. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis, he did everything solid in that, and his facial expressions were so menacing at times and unexpected. And he didn't.
Yeah, and he tries to be this like old-fashioned guy, which is just like fun to watch. Like he's just acting like this weird old-fashioned.
Yeah, and he's a British actor, and he's playing this kooky American. It's like it's very kind of endearing in a weird way because he's such a nasty villain, but the behavior is so quaint.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like funny as well. I suppose that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and Tony hasn't seen this movie. Tony, are you there?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to contribute because you guys obviously are way fucking.
But what, Tony? What did you think about No Country for Old Men? Because that's the other movie we're comparing it to.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't have too much like about the cinematography aspects themselves to comment on, but I did think about the theme of that movie a lot of like random chance and
there's a lot of luck. It's like luck, but it's like dark.
Yeah. Like what the hell does he like represent? That guy?
Which guy?
It wasn't really luck. I guess like the point is
bad fortune. Yeah.
Something was like guiding him or something. It was
Well, you're talking about the turd character, the turd character, the Turk. I don't know what they called him. He had a funny name, but
Anton Chigurh.
Anton Chigurh. Yeah, he was also known as. He was supposed to be Turkish, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Turkish.
Huh. It's weird.
Maybe I think maybe I'm thinking of The Godfather because they had a character called the Turk in The Godfather. So, but kind of a wag right there, a wild ass guess. But Anton Chigurh, let me Google his backstory because I want to know what.
Well, I can tell you that from what I remember, like I think he kind of wasn't supposed to have one, so he just has this like vaguely foreign name to just like get the sense of like otherness, And that haircut, love that haircut. That just adds to it. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I remember the in that movie, the haircut's great too. Yeah, it's so unique and very in your face. You don't forget it, bold kind of. And one of the things I like about Chigurh's the way he was Chigurh was the way he was characterized. You have Woody Harrelson playing this kind of like hitman character, and when he's being paid by the banker to kill Chigurh or whatever, he's like, what's the deal with this guy? Like the banker's asking this, like, what's his problem? Like, what's his deal? And he's like, oh, he just, I know Chigurh. Yeah, he just doesn't have a sense of humor. And it was such an odd thing to say about the guy who we've been following for the last hour or two. It's like, because we didn't really like think that wasn't what anyone was thinking. Like, oh, he doesn't have a sense of humor. Like we were thinking other things, like oh, this guy's a crazy son of a bitch. He's cold blooded. He's weird. No one was thinking he doesn't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, but that like says a lot, doesn't it?
It does say a lot. It's like it has so much personality that like he would say something out of left field like that.
Yeah.
But then when they do meet, and then Woody Harrelson's character gets like murked, like really bad, and dies. Yeah. There's like this interaction before he kills him, where he's like, "Do you know how crazy you are?" He says,
"Yeah, I remember that. Do you have any idea how crazy you sound, or something?"
And Chigurh's just kind of smiling, and it's like, and then in that moment, we're like, "Oh, he has a sense of humor. It's just really fucked up,
That's really funny. Like, does he smile?
He smiles when he's about to kill the guy because he knows that he thinks that guy's a joke or something, and he wants to kill
Wow, that's cool.
But
That's a cool thing to pick up on. I never noticed that.
like the appeal to that character, in as much as there is one, is that he's such a hard boiled realist that he ends up just defaulting to sociopathy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's so realistic and like that he just like it becomes a robot. Like I'll kill someone for money. Why not? You know.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not. I feel like there's like, because remember, like people tried to pay him off, and like he follows a code. He's not just about the money. He follows some weird ass code, and like that's kind of what's guiding him. I think.
Oh, I didn't remember that well. He said he got tried to get paid off at some point.
No, I mean I think the point is that he like never would be like.
No, sorry, not he didn't. Sorry, I misspoke. They tried to pay him off. Who tried to pay him off? I forget this point.
I think Woody Harrelson like tried to like pay him off. He's like, dude, like I don't even care anymore. I'll pay you. Just don't kill me. And I think by the same token, like the Vietnam badass guy, the like main character basically, was like going to give the money back maybe.
Oh, okay.
We're like on the phone.
Well, he was killed by the Mexicans. He wasn't killed by Shiger.
Well, wait. I mean like the main character. Like
Yeah, the main character was killed by the Mexicans. He wasn't killed by.
I don't think he was.
No, he was. He was killed by the Mexicans. He was too cool to get killed by Shiger.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I must have missed everything. Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so wrong. Does he like go back to the hotel room? What the hell happens?
Shiger goes there after he gets killed, and he's late, and he sees that the guy was already killed. He shows up at the crime scene. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, dude, I totally missed.
It's actually a minor thing. It like really didn't matter that much. It was like something. It was like almost like an Easter egg. Like, oh, he didn't get killed by, because you're watching it and you're like, oh, this guy's gonna kill him, and then he escapes him at one point or a couple points, and then eventually he ends up. You see him dying.
Oh, the pickup truck driving away and he's dead.
Yeah, but he was killed by the Mexicans because they were tracking the money, and they just wanted the money back, and that's why. Whereas Shiger he gets distracted by killing all these people. You know what I mean? He's probably going to be a little bit late after because he's cleaning all the blood up. You know?
Yeah.
But his ironically, like you'd think he's so good, but then he's too busy cleaning blood and shit.
Jeez.
But then I think he got the mom and he got his girlfriend, his wife.
He definitely got his wife.
Yeah.
It's like the sad final scene.
Yeah, what? Will? What are you saying?
Doesn't Carla Jean like refuse to flip the coin or something at the end?
Yeah.
Or something?
No, he flips the coin. She refuses to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But then he kills her anyway, right?
Yeah, but she won the moral victory by not playing into his weird ass system.
Sure, yeah, but it's not even a moral victory. It's just like she knows that he's just like gonna do it. You know, the old man at the gas station, or whoever it was, like the other people. I think the old man at the gas station lived. But,
yeah, he did.
But he got lucky. But the some of the people who didn't get lucky, like they just were just like craven and desperate, you know, kooky.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, this guy will let me live.
Yeah, I remember that, and like, you know, Anton is just tearing down his whole life. Like, there's no two ways about it. That's just the way it is. Something.
Well, yeah, at that point, when you're such a good killer, right? It's like you don't see it as like, oh, like there's gonna be like a, you know, there's gonna be some element X factor that's gonna make it like screw up the murder. You know what I mean? He knows that he can just kill them. You know. Like, which I thought was so interesting to see in a movie, because you think about this about serial killers, like they know they have power in the moment, right? That they can kill someone, and we don't realize that because we're not serial killers. But in this movie, they like showed how like confident he was. It's just like, oh yeah, I have complete control. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are you saying, Tony?
Kind of cutting out.
Could you hear me, or was it just Tony? Like, it's just Tony.
I can hear you, but with Tony, it sounds like I hear like every half second, like a little bit of sound.
Oh gosh.
I don't know what that's about.
Tony, what were you going to say? Because try to say it.
I was gonna say that you know, the movie tries to portray him as being like really cool and deep or something, but he's really just a dick.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah,
That's actually that's really true. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to like think like, what does he represent? Like, what's the deeper meaning? It's like he's just kind of an asshole. There is no deeper meaning. He's just a jerk.
He just has an accent. Yeah, exactly.
He just killed some woman. Like, and that scene is so fucked because it's like this power trip, and you're just like in the hands of this serial killer, like begging him not to like kill you for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, dude, why are we even doing this? And then, like, afterward, he, flips a coin and got in a car crash. So, wow, he must be really deep or something. Like, no, dude, fuck that guy. I would literally run him over right now. Like, I hate him.
Yeah.
Well, that was scene was just to show you that he's not like, like he's not always just gonna like. I don't know what that scene was supposed to be. It's
kind of like fortune is coming back for him.
Yeah, it was like karma. It's like what goes around comes around a bit, but it was also like, oh, this guy can like handle like intense moments, and like he's like a soldier kind of like they wanted to make him seem like a soldier a little bit.
Well, there's also I think that like he tried to get away, which is like kind of odd because you'd think if he was just like obsessed with fortune, then he would just like accept his fate. He's been hit by a car. I mean, I don't know. I guess not.
Well, he never got. Yeah, he wasn't. You were kind of half expecting him to like have a shootout or something. Like you expected, because that's like typical. Like you expect him to like get shot by the police, and they really milked this scene where like no, he's crafty. He'll outmaneuver the police, outmaneuver the fucking car wreck, outmaneuver the kids who like are like a witnessing.
The shirtless kids.
Yeah, give them money and stuff. It's like. And it shows you that like obviously it plays into the title of the movie, like No Country for Old Men. Like if you're some old guy that's like weak, you're not gonna like last long in this world.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, like if you play by the rules and the old cowboy code of honor, like that old guy, you won't last.
Yeah, after seeing this movie, I read the novel by Cormac McCarthy, who's
that's cool.
Who's a really great American Southern Gothic novelist who died recently, but he wrote a lot of his novels like a long time ago. Like he stopped writing the last 10 years of his life, but in the novel you get a lot more. I think Shiger actually does kill the main character in the novel.
Oh yeah,
and I think also the sheriff is like a lot more talking. There's a lot more scenes with the sheriff played by Tommy Lee Jones. In the movie, that was something that you like kind of like tuned out of, and it was pretty boring. But in the novel, that was a lot more of like a kind of like
way more central kind of
more centralized, subplot. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, books are obviously going to be way more dialogue heavy.
Yeah, well, there's one really good movie that is like so similar to this. It was directed by Taylor Sheridan, and it was called Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
And that movie is like, if you like No Country for Old Men, I immediately recommend Hell or High Water. It's like the most similar possible movie to it, but at the same time, it's completely different. It's about two brothers that are getting kicked off their land because their mom's sick. Yeah. And they have to pay her medical bills because she's dying or something. Yeah. And they go and decide to rob a bank. And one of them is like a nice guy, and the other brother is like an ex-con. Yeah, it's like a rough rider kind of guy. And anyway, they're getting like tracked by like the Texas state troopers.
Yeah,
it's so similar. It's like Texas law, cops and robbers. Kind of so similar, but it's different because the bad guys are actually like. Are the good guys. They're anti-heroes in this case. But then the cops are also, it's like more neutral tone, moral tone.
Yeah, there's no like clear good and evil kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I really liked about it. Whereas in this movie, you kind of get tired of like the dichotomy between good and evil, the dualism, right? You get tired of like the extreme like evil henchman guy, and then the extremely, noble sheriff, and then the middle of the road, hunter who found some money stash. And just gets a little bit like it's sort of like a what's
It's like preachy or obvious or something.
preachy. That's a good word. Preachy and predictable, obvious. Yeah. But it's also it's not just that it starts to feel like it's trying to be this epic thing, like it's trying to be like it's like pretentious, like it's trying to be like like the epic of Torquato Tasso, Jerusalem Delivered, like some like Italian poem from the 14th century that has 1,000 stanzas and will last the test of all time, and something that will be read for generations after. It's like trying to be this like.
To say, I mean, I don't know. It could be.
It could be, but it's like I know it's like you have to try in order.
I guess in the moment you shouldn't like be pretentious about yourself or something. I don't know. I like the clear. I don't know. I like when stuff is sort of moralistic. Even. I mean, as long as it's not like moralizing but not moralistic. I don't know. There's like one of them means it's bad. The other means it's good.
It just seems like it seems very Catholic. You know what I mean? It's very It's very Catholic. There's this Manichaeanism to it.
Yeah, well.
Good. It's like you can't just be good and evil and like a cute combination. You have to be one or the other, and then like it'll impact your entire future forever. But it's also an excellent movie, if not, and with a brilliant team working to make it. And
well, I mean it works. Like I said, it works on a level of just enjoying it, and it also works like on a deeper level.
What did you do you still think that There Will Be Blood was a superior film?
I mean, I don't know if it's like I can't really say if stuff is good, superior or inferior, but I just prefer There Will Be Blood, and like I said, I feel it's more like it's more poetic, I guess. I know it's like that's extremely pretentious to say, but it's just this lyricism, and it like goes. Okay. Yeah, well, it is. It is those long scenes of like the middle of the night. It's way more visual.
Yeah,
like,
it's
the giant oil fire, and he runs. There's drumming. It's like, dude, that's like.
I don't know, man. It seemed like artsy. It seemed like it was the script wasn't as adapted as well.
Well, I don't think he was even trying. I mean, that's the thing. It's like nothing. Like apparently he didn't even read the book. He just like.
Oh really?
He read like 12 pages of the book, and he just like got his own idea or something.
Oh, okay.
Like he read a summary of it. I'm not sure.
That sounds about right. And that's why he didn't get the Oscar for writing.
Yeah, but
sounds like a 2-hour-long troll, to be honest.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but everything I've heard, it just sounds like baited into like watching something boring for an extended amount.
I know. That's what I'm complaining about. That's what I'm.
Oh, but it's beautiful though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's like I noticed, Will, you like the Andersons a lot. You like Paul Thomas Anderson,
I noticed that.
Wes Anderson. You should meet a girl. You should meet a young lass with the last name Anderson. That'll be her maiden name.
There was a guy who in like Russia in like the 1890s or something, who married Dostoevsky's like ex-wife just because like he loved Dostoevsky so much, and Dostoevsky was like dead at the time or something, and he like wanted it to like rub off on him. It's like so insane. That's just what you're talking about.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually something that makes sense. But but marrying someone that's just named Anderson because there's some other people named Anderson.
I know that's even crazy. Well, actually, in a way, if they were named Anderson,
it's more attainable.
Yeah, but most likely they're from the same Anderson family. I mean, it's not like independent branches of,
Yeah, well, that's everyone, man. Everyone's got the same last name, is like dimly related to everyone else with the same last name.
Yeah, but they would be more related to the other Andersons than they would be like the Polanskis or something, or the Wachowskis of the world.
Why?
Because they're named Anderson, so they're probably from the same branch family. I mean, granted, it's still like 5 generations back or something, but still,
Yeah, but you're right. The way I feel about that kind of thing, though, is that you have so many names that are like put into your genealogy that just disappear, and the only one that remains is like the father's one.
Yeah, and I think just like mathematically, I don't know.
Like
It's like
I have the names Harris, Bailey,
Yeah.
what's not Sherman, but the Fenton. Those are like so Harris, Bailey, Fenton are all like equally relevant as Richardson. But Richardson
well,
is
genetically.
my family name, yeah, genetically. But so like so there's three other names that are just as prominent. But I still think that Richardson is who I am, which is like stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think mathematically, like, not you. It's not like no one can have a pristine gene line in the sense of not some, like, for example, you go up, there's two parents. You go up, there's four grandparents. You go up again, 8 great grandparents. You'd think it would just go up by factors of 2, but just by the nature of, like, numbers and the finite human population, as you go back in time, like, it starts bouncing, and you end up not like no one has like 70 billion grandparents, but like 2 to the like what's 2 to the 10th? Like, let me see.
2 to the 10th.
Yeah,
2 times
2 to
2
the 10th.
times 2 times fuck, dude, that's a lot, man.
Oh wait, that's not even that much. That's 1,024. Okay.
Yeah, but you had to look that shit up,
Yeah, I did. Okay, to the 20th, that's still not that much. Okay, to the 30th, 30 generations. Okay, that's too much. That's like
What?
That's I think
What's the math you're doing here? This is so off track, dude. What's the math you're doing here?
the math is that your number of ancestors is the generation times 2. So you are 1. Your parents, the first generation back, are 2. Then it's 4. Then 8, and so on.
Good point. Yeah.
I think I was wrong though, because I went back like 30 generations and it's only like 1 million people. So like, I'm totally wrong.
2 times. Well, there's something they have called the I forget the name for it, but basically there's so much incest in the past.
Well, exactly. Like, even without math, like, people just live in these small little villages.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, we think that it's like a pyramid. The model is like a pyramid of like just it's steady linear increase, but actually it like stops increasing somewhat and it gets truncated or whatever because the there's like so much incest. These genealogies like recombine at various points.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But let's say 2 times. Two times.
30 generations back is like
2 that's like that's like the Dark Ages, man. Don't worry about that.
No, is it? Like, I guess I suppose so.
Well, look, if one generation is like 50 years, 30 years, sorry, okay, I guess if 20 years, I guess it depends.
I think at the around that point it gets way too big. Like, let's see, like to the 35th. That's already 343 billion, maybe. Let's see, wait. 3, 4, 6.
So 10 generations back, I'm guaranteeing you 10 generations back is probably not even in the 1700s. Maybe so, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm sure it also radically differs.
Definitely not the 1600s. It could differ depending on how old people have kids and stuff. But if we're going to go assuming an average of like 25 years old is when you have all your kids each year.
Yeah, which historically it probably was more or less.
25. So from here, let's go back to 1900. That's like 5 generations.
Yeah.
And then it's like another 4 to 1800. So you're going back to 1770 or whatever, 1775, 1765, and that would be 10 generations back. And that's a lot of fucking generations, dude.
You know? Well, like we said, it's only 1,024.
Yeah, that's a lot of ancestors for 10 for just going back to 1775, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Like that I guess that shows the folly of like making family trees, because like, you know.
Well, there's what does stay the same. What does stay the same is that if your genetics are all from the same area, like you're.
Oh yeah, like with Ashkenazi Jews and stuff.
Yeah, like I mean, not just them. I mean, that's like an extreme example, but like talking about with if you're just like the northern part of England or something, and then I mean, how many like, you know, like I don't know. It's like those families are like you eventually just kind of related to every other white person, kind of. And then you go far back enough, you're related to every other human being.
Yeah, well, even other creatures.
Yeah, other starfish and stuff. I know.
I've heard. That's funny. Yeah, well, Patrick.
Yep.
That's so dumb.
So, but the other thing about There Will Be Blood is that the I really liked the kid when he was younger. I like the Paul Dano like arc where he just kind of was like this baby, this kid, this young adult
Yeah.
preacher, this rival business person, and
Yeah.
then he becomes like a super rival who's like winning, who's actually starts to win against him.
Yeah.
Well,
And humiliating him in front of everyone.
yeah, and I think that was it somehow had nothing to do with anything, but his whole arc. But it was the best part of the movie.
Oh, just him being like sort of triumphant and
Him transforming every few scenes into a new sort of like relationship with the Daniel Plainview character.
that's interesting.
Because Daniel Plainview was pretty boring, except for the good acting that he was doing. He was like his arc was boring. Like, he was just a curmudgeon from the get go.
Yeah, he doesn't really change. He just kind of like
No, he doesn't.
He sort of fails to change, and that's kind of evil right there for you, isn't it?
But that was kind of what made the movie like not work for me, is that he doesn't change that much. Whereas even in No Country for Old Men, like everyone's slowly changing a little bit, inch by inch.
I don't know. I feel like Anton Chigurh didn't really change.
Well, he changes as much as he changes, but he's changing from like he's not getting he's getting like better, even though he just starts out so fucked up that you don't really like.
Does he really?
Yeah, because he's
kind of the same guy.
Well, he gave the kid the fucking. He didn't like he gave the scene with the kids where he buys their shirt is showing you that he can interact with someone in a way that isn't like some kind of mind game, and that's the only scene where he does that. Where it's like something.
I thought that was just kind of necessity, like the police cars were coming.
But that's my point. That's my point. Is that his arc is becoming more and more like human, whereas in the other character, his arc doesn't become more human. His arc becomes less human, I think.
Yeah, no, he becomes more evil. No, I disagree. I think he's still. I think Anton's still the same, like cold-blooded bastard for the whole movie, pretty much.
Well, you're right, but it's not it's not the same like levels of change. Like Anton is changing less, but he's changing in a positive direction, whereas this guy is changing more evil. He's getting worse.
But I think Anton doesn't change, but what's his name becomes like more horrible.
I think Anton does change. I just don't think it's displayed as like a blatant phenomenon. But I think he is slowly changing because that's just like how like people are, right? Like you can't even a character like you'd have to write some change in for the movie to make any sense at all. The change.
I don't think so. I mean, what people say about him is that he's like this force of nature. It's just I get what you mean that he might like. He might like be like invisibly changed by that way, like refusing to play his game and like not being afraid, and so like he like loses, so he changes because of that. Certainly.
Yeah, he loses. Yeah, he doesn't get the kill. He doesn't get. Did he recover the? He didn't recover the money.
Yeah, it's not about the money.
That's just what he says. But I think I won't. Everyone changes, even Sauron and Morgoth and Gollum and Mace Windu or whatever. They all changed, dude.
I don't know. I really don't think so. I feel like the thing with villains is that they kind of don't. I mean, maybe they do when they're redeemed, but they just sort of get worse. I guess getting worse is changing them. So you're right.
Well, this is the thing is Darth Sidious changes, right?
I don't know. He changes physically. He like reveals his true colors.
Darth Vader changes a lot.
Darth Vader changes so much. Darth Vader has like such a rich. He insanely changes. He goes from nice little kid to like this angsty teenager to like basically a school shooter, and then like then he becomes like Mecha Hitler, kind of just this like badass samurai with no name, no voice, and then he becomes a loving father at the very end. Really rewarding change.
Well, the Emperor changes in that he gets more desperate, right?
Who?
The Emperor, Palpatine.
I mean, like in the yeah. I mean, he's he changes and he is crapping his pants when Darth Vader's like throwing him over the balcony.
No, but then then when he comes back though, and like whatever it was, the Last Crusade or some shit, the last 3 movies that came out.
Yeah.
I don't even know their names, but he's
I
like,
don't even. Yeah.
I don't know, but he was like desperate in those. Like he was like going, he was like cackling the whole time. I mean, he was really crazy.
I didn't watch those, but I take your word for it, I believe.
Yeah, there's some kind of like masochism to watching them. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't blame you.
Well, it's probably worse than the Christmas special.
Yeah, no, that was like a Christmas special was better than probably the prequels. Even. But apparently, Lucas didn't actually make direct that many of his movies. He only directed like the prequels, and he directed the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah, but they seem like they're a unit, well, I mean the original trilogy anyway.
Well,
the prequels feel like they're one solid unit, even though people think they kind of suck.
So what's weird about Return of the Jedi, which by the way sounds a little bit like Return of the King, just saying. And that Return of the King was a book from the 50s.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I don't like about Star Wars is that it obviously it's copying these Kurosawa samurai flicks.
Yeah, definitely.
But those flicks were themselves copying like cowboy movies. They were like, because westerns used to be the most popular genre in Hollywood, and those cowboy movies were sort of copying like knights stories and stories about other western sort of like figures.
So it's like horrendous blend of like an infinite loop.
Yeah, but it's like I think it was a way of like making chivalry seem like an Asian thing. That's what Star Wars kind of did. It made chivalry seem like this Asian thing. It de-Catholicized it. It de-Westernized it. It made it into this nebulous, like, anyone can be chivalrous thing, which is true, which is totally true. But I just thought it took the heritage away from the chivalric.
Yeah, I see what you. I actually sort of see what you. I do feel like there's this weird sense where like it's almost like it makes like foreignness like normal, which is.
It is, yeah. It's totally a racist movie too. Like you have like the cantina scene with the aliens. It's like what's that? Who were those supposed to be?
I realized all that stuff, and so much of that stuff in Star Wars is like based off these like boys' adventure stories that he read, back as a kid.
Sure.
So, like those stories, and so he just but those stories are basically based off of like colonialism. Like, oh, and then the Muku Tiki tribe. Look how strange they are. There's strange wetlands they live in. It's kind of hard to explain, but
Oh man, dude, yeah, right on the nose with that. Gosh, yeah, I know. And you read like the comic book, the Detective Comics number 28, where they go into the Chinatown and there's all this mist in the basement Chinese restaurant, and there's a Fu Manchu that's being twirled by the guy with the Manchurian hat.
Freaking long ass fingernails too.
But the long fingernails, the eyes that look like. Let's not even go there. Almonds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, gosh, yeah. And it's like the Orientalism, like the mystifying of the East, right?
Yeah.
That is like.
Well, and it's not good for anyone because like no one's home should be like elsewhere. Like no one should like relate to the Jedi more than their own ancestors. And conversely, like just anyone.
Wait, I don't get what you're saying about.
Well, just I feel like for people who like grew up watching Star Wars, like that was their main like fairy tale. So why should it be like of a kind of like of a foreign land in a way? There's something just off about that. I don't know.
Do you get this? Apparently, David Cronenberg and David Lynch were both going to do.
David Lynch. I didn't know David Cronenberg.
We're going to do Return of the Jedi.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, that would have been messed up. Probably been the best movie ever, but just messed up. But then I know with the racism in those like thugs, like he goes to Jabba's palace, and then they're just all they're all like multi-ethnic, like alien. They're literally illegal aliens, It's just like, gosh, dude. And then, like when you're a kid, you think it's just cute, and then when you're an adult, you're like, oh, this is like social commentary at its like most perverse.
Yeah, it's all it could only get its like emotional resonance from like reality.
Yeah.
Like, despite how covered up it may be, or how deniable it may be.
And I'll tell you, man, the racism towards Asians was like worse than the racism towards black people in those old comic books and pulp magazines. And it was because the black people were an immediate, reality for American people. But Asians, they're kind of like, they were kind of not, they're not like an omnipresent, person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They weren't like
I also remember there's the like when the war was on, like just constantly bashing on Japanese people, like everywhere, comic books and stuff. I mean, that much is obvious.
Oh yeah, in the 30s they were doing it too, but yeah, the 40s, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think they just thought they were so odd, and it's like because they weren't a like this, second class citizen or like a servant class or something. They weren't. There's no like law that like they had in place that was like being constantly readjusted to reaccommodate them or anything. They were kind of this anomaly as a demographic. I think that's why they were regarded with like suspicion. Whereas if they had like more of a tradition of working in the economy in like in a sort of up front and center way, I think that they wouldn't have been regarded like so crudely, so like treated with such kind of disdain and like, othered, so blatantly. But I don't know. I think in Star Wars did a good job though of mending that. Like with Star Wars, like for all its faults with the whole chivalry thing, I think it really highlighted the nobility of the samurai, like subconsciously, and repaired Asian American relationship with a Caucasian American relationship. Sorry, people, residents. I didn't mean to say relationship. The residents. I think it repaired that, and I think Star Wars is like this weird quirk of a series that like actually helped to improve race relations, like inadvertently,
Yeah, I sort of see what you mean. Just because like it makes a lot of stuff cool. Like it's kind of like a predecessor to like the ninja craze and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was also kind of like that. Yeah. Although that one is probably weaker.
You could obviously say that like, despite how whatever residual benefits come from that, it's not like there were any like Asians, like actual Asian actors in the freaking movie.
Yeah, but then there weren't any Asian actors in SNL until like last year. So it's not like
true.
I mean, you can't blame Star Wars for that. I mean,
you gotta look at stuff from whatever like historical context it had or whatever.
And you keep in mind a lot of the kung fu movies in the 70s were very laudatory. I think it was all had to do with Vietnam. I think there was this in the Korean War. I think there was a lot of like apologetics, or not apologetics really, but like what's the word that makes more sense? Just sort of compassion for Asians because of the Vietnam and Korean War, and I think so. They made these like there were all these like kung fu movies that were like made kung fu seem like it was like like on the level of like Superman. Like if you learn kung fu, like you could be a superhero. You weren't just like a good guy that knew martial arts. You were a literal fucking magic wielding superhero just by learning kung fu.
Yeah.
And that genre like kind of died out because it was so retarded and it's like absurdity. But it had like this great value, like Star Wars is like promoting sort of Eastern culture, East Asian culture. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we did about an hour, so I'm gonna cancel this and we'll try to rendezvous for next time. Yeah, so No Country for Old Men, watch it. There Will Be Blood, watch it. Gosh, now I have to think of another topic. Yeah.
We'll get some. We can watch some movies for next week, huh?
Oh yeah.
Well, you guys definitely